Have you ever wondered if the person you walk past on the street could be hiding a secret life? Maybe they're not just a stranger in torn clothes, but someone far more powerful than they seem. This is the story of a woman who gave a little and received everything in return. It started on an ordinary morning, with people rushing to work, cars honking, and the smell of fresh coffee drifting from a small corner cafe. Nothing unusual except for one man sitting quietly outside. His clothes were dirty. His beard was overgrown. His eyes were tired. Most people walked past him like he was invisible, but not her. Her name was Emily. She wasn't rich. She wasn't famous. Just a simple cafe owner trying to get through each day. But what made her different was her heart. She noticed things others didn't. Especially him, the homeless man who sat across the street every morning. He never begged, never asked for help, just sat there, head down, like he was waiting for something or someone. What happened next wasn't magic. It wasn't part of some plan. It was just one person deciding to care, and that one act changed everything. You might think you know how this story goes, but trust me, it will surprise you. Watch until the end, and you'll understand why one small act of kindness can flip your entire world upside down. Emily had always believed in doing the right thing, even when no one was watching. She ran a small cafe on the corner of a quiet street. It wasn't fancy. The chairs wobbled a little, and the walls needed a fresh coat of paint. But people loved coming there because of her. She served every cup of coffee with a smile, and somehow she remembered everyone's favorite order. She opened the cafe early each morning and closed it late at night. Her days were long, her back often ached, but she never complained. She had built this little business with her own hands after years of struggle. Money was always tight, but she managed. And even though she didn't have much, Emily never turned away someone in need. That's just how she was. So when she noticed the same man sitting across the street every morning, silent, still, and alone, her heart stirred. He wasn't like the others who came asking for food. He never said a word, just sat on the edge of the sidewalk, hands in his lap, eyes fixed on the ground. On the third day of seeing him, Emily did something small. She brought him a sandwich and a hot cup of tea. She placed it beside him and said, "It's fresh. Please eat." He looked up, surprised. His eyes were tired but kind. He nodded slowly and whispered, "Thank you." That was all. From that day on, Emily brought him something to eat every morning. A sandwich, omaifin, a warm drink, sometimes just a bottle of water. She didn't ask him questions. She didn't need to. For her, it wasn't about fixing his life. It was about making sure he knew he wasn't invisible. People told her she was wasting her time. "He's just another bum," one man said. "You can't help everyone," another woman warned. But Emily didn't listen. She believed kindness didn't need a reason. Even when she was exhausted, even when she was short on supplies, she always packed a little extra, just for him. And slowly, without knowing it, she became the only bright moment in his dark world. But she still didn't know the truth. Not yet, because the man she was feeding wasn't just a homeless stranger. He was someone far more powerful than anyone could imagine. And soon everything would come to light. No one really saw him. To the people rushing down the street, he was just another shadow in the background. A worn-out man in old clothes, sitting still like a statue. His beard was messy, his hands rough and calloused. Some thought he was dangerous. Others assumed he had ruined his own life. But none of them stopped. Not even once. Emily did. Every day, she came out with something in her hands. Food, drink, even a spare sweater on colder mornings. She didn't expect thanks. She didn't want praise. It just felt right. Still, she wondered about him. Where did he sleep? Why didn't he speak much? Why did his eyes look so full of pain, and yet oddly calm? She tried to ask his name once, but he only gave a soft shake of the head. Not important, he mumbled, so she stopped asking. Instead, she just smiled and said things like, "Hope today's better than yesterday." Or, "This one's extra sweet, just for you." One rainy afternoon, she found him coughing hard. His body shook with every breath. His face was pale and his hands were cold. Emily didn't hesitate. She ran inside, made hot soup, and came back with medicine from her drawer. "Drink this," she said firmly, kneeling beside him. He looked at her, eyes wide. He wasn't used to anyone caring. Not like this. He took the soup, his hands trembling. "You don't have to do this," he whispered. "But I want to," Emily replied. "That's the difference." She sat beside him in silence as the rain fell around them. In that moment, something shifted. The man who had barely spoken in weeks looked at her with a kind of respect she didn't understand, a kind of quiet awe. Nobody else saw it. Nobody else knew. But Emily had just cracked the wall he had built around himself. He still didn't tell her who he was. Not yet. But she had just taken the first step toward unlocking a life-changing secret. And that secret would soon change everything. The days rolled on. The city never slowed down, but Emily never stopped bringing that extra meal. Rain or shine, tired or busy, she made sure he ate something warm. The man started saying more than just, "Thank you." Small things, short sentences. Sometimes he'd say, "You're kind," or "This smells great." He never said much, but Emily noticed the difference. His voice had grown steadier. His eyes had more life. One morning, something unexpected happened. As Emily placed a sandwich on the bench beside him, he didn't reach for it. He just looked up at her, his eyes serious. "Can I ask you something?" he said. Emily nodded, surprised. He paused. "Why do you help someone like me?" His voice was low, almost uncertain, like he wasn't sure he deserved an answer. Emily didn't hesitate. "Because everyone needs someone," she said. "You might not have anything, but that doesn't make you less human. People forget that." The man stared at her, silent, his lips pressed together. Then he looked down at his hands, as if trying to hide the emotion rising in his face. "No one said that to me in a long time," he whispered. Emily smiled gently. "Well, maybe it's time someone did." The next morning, he was gone. Emily stood on the sidewalk, holding a wrapped muffin and coffee. The bench was empty. No sign of him. She looked around, half expecting him to return late, like usual. But the whole day passed, and he never came. A strange feeling filled her chest. Worry, sadness, a quiet sense of loss. She had grown used to his presence. Even without knowing his name, she had started to care. Days went by. Still no sign. People forgot. Life went on. But Emily didn't forget. She didn't know it yet. But the man she had helped wasn't truly gone. He had simply stepped out of the shadows to prepare something life-changing. Because soon, he was going to come back. And when he did, he would no longer be the man everyone ignored. 3 days later, something unusual happened outside Emily's cafe. A black luxury car pulled up to the curb. It was sleek, shiny, and clearly expensive. Nothing like the old rusted cars usually parked on this street. At first, Emily didn't think much of it. People sometimes got lost and ended up here by accident. But then the driver stepped out and opened the back door, and a man emerged. Emily dropped the tray she was carrying. He was clean-shaven, dressed in a tailored suit, shoes polished to a shine. His hair was neatly cut, his posture strong, confident. But it was the eyes that gave him away. Those same tired, kind eyes she had looked into so many mornings. It was him, the homeless man, except he wasn't homeless anymore. Or maybe he never was. He walked up to her quietly. No crowd.
No noise.
Just the two of them standing face to face outside the same little cafe where she used to feed him. "I owe you the truth," he said. Emily was frozen. She didn't know what to say. Her mind raced, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. "My name is Daniel," he continued. "Daniel Cross." The name rang no bells. Then he added, "I own Cross Enterprises. We build tech hubs across the country. We employ over 8,000 people." Emily blinked. I don't understand." "I went off the grid 6 months ago," Daniel explained.
No phones.
"No staff, no protection. I needed to see the world from the other side. Not as a billionaire, but as someone forgotten. I wanted to see if people still had kindness left in them when they thought you had nothing to offer." He paused, voice steady but filled with emotion. "You were the only one who did." Emily's heart pounded in her chest. Her cafe suddenly felt too small, too quiet for the weight of this moment. "All this time," she said softly, "you were pretending to be homeless?" He nodded. "Not pretending. I lived it. I slept in shelters. I ate from trash cans. I lost weight, got sick. I gave everything up to understand what people without money go through. It nearly broke me." Emily just stared. She wanted to be angry. She wanted to cry. But above all, she felt stunned. Daniel reached into his coat and pulled out a small box. He opened it slowly. Inside was a silver key. "This is for you," he said. "It's the key to your new cafe. Bigger space, new equipment, staff. I've already handled everything. You won't have to struggle anymore." Emily couldn't speak. Tears welled in her eyes. "This isn't charity," he added. "It's gratitude." And in that quiet moment, standing on the same sidewalk where she once offered him a muffin, everything changed. The man she had helped, the one no one else looked at twice, had just revealed his true self. And in return for her kindness, he was about to rewrite her entire future. Emily stood there, speechless. The silver key in her hands felt heavier than gold. Not because of its weight, but because of what it meant. She had never asked for anything in return. She helped because it felt right, because that's who she was. But now, the man she once knew as a silent, broken figure on the sidewalk was offering her everything she had once only dreamed of. Daniel continued, his voice calm but sincere. "I saw something in you that reminded me of what the world is supposed to be like. Gentle, honest, full of heart. When I was at my lowest, you treated me like a person. You didn't know who I was, but you cared anyway." He paused, then smiled softly. "Not many people would have done that." Emily finally found her voice. "You don't owe me anything," she said, tears threatening to fall. "I know," Daniel nodded. "That's why I want to." Weeks passed and the transformation began. Emily's tiny cafe was moved into a bigger, brighter space just 2 streets over. Brand new machines, soft lighting, comfortable seating, and a cozy charm that still felt like her. But now she had a team. She had time. She had peace. Daniel visited often, not as a billionaire, not as a homeless man, just as a friend. People began to ask about the new place, about the woman who seemed to have luck fall into her lap. But it wasn't luck. It was kindness returned tenfold. And as word spread, her story touched others. Some gave more. Some helped strangers. Some stopped and asked a name before walking past someone on the street. Emily never changed. She still greeted everyone with a smile, still slipped an extra cookie into a child's bag, still brewed her coffee with the same warmth as before. But one thing was different now. She no longer wondered if goodness could survive in a busy, selfish world, because she had proof that it could. One kind act had led to everything she never dared ask for, and it all started with a cup of tea and the courage to care, because sometimes the person you help when no one else will ends up being the one who changes your life forever.